Well, g'day, curd nerds. G'day, curd nerds. Well, g'day, curd nerds. Well, g'day, curd nerds. Well, g'day, curd nerds. Well, g'day, curd nerds. G'day, curd nerds. Welcome. And the curd nerd light is flashing straight away. Who's that then? Jim Jackson. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. All right, let's just... I just have to see the light flash. Thank you, mate. Not bright and early, too. Oh, is it turning off? Oh, it did. Oh, goodness me. Thanks, everybody. There's so many people watching. This is episode 261. And for those who don't know, I'm Gavin Weber, host and chief curd nerd, and I will be attempting to answer your home cheese making questions. So fantastic to see so many of you. Now, big thank you as always to the financial members of the show. Special mention today, a new patron, Trace Bradshaw. Thank you, Trace, for your patronage, and thanks to all the patrons. They're listed on the screen, and thanks to everybody past and present. And of course, we can't forget the YouTube members. Thank you to all the YouTube members who are currently financial. Fantastic, because, oops, wrong button. So without your support, the show would be a mere shadow of itself. All right, very cool. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping. Today's cheese of the day challenge is a Millowar Camembert, Normandy style, which tasted amazing. It was lovely cheese. And those who are yet to catch up, there are obviously 19 videos so far this month. Actually, there's a couple more thrown in there as well. But there are 9 cheeses to go. So cheeses to look out for. We've got we've got a Red Leicester tomorrow. We've got Goat Camembert, which was just amazing, blew my mind. And then we've got a Fricko Chervette goat cheese, a Tasmanian Trio cheese, the only processed cheese in the challenge, which is a Dutch smoked cheese. The cheese that cannot be mentioned, Grana Padano. I actually try a piece of that. A nice cream cheese from Yarra Valley Cheese, a strong and bitey cheddar, and an AOC Havarti. All the way from Denmark. So, yeah, we got lots of cheeses coming up this month. And don't forget that in March, we'll be back to our normal programming. I've got cheeses ready to go soon. So, triple cream recipe will be hitting the streets early in March. Tassie Devil, my own creation with some Tasmanian mountain pepperberries. Kindly donated by Michael and Jenny, who are in the chat. Thank you very much for those. Jack in the Box cheese, which is a pepper jack enclosed in a farmhouse cheddar, so that should be interesting. And there'll be the Vegemite cheese taste test sometime in March as well. So they're the videos coming up. Lots and lots of content on the channel. And we've got Ben Weber, my son, to thank for the editing prowess of the Cheese a Day challenge. He's a new budding editor that I've employed. Well, he was already employed in the business, so he's just branched out and doing other stuff as well. So that's fantastic fun, and he's really enjoying it. So that's why we've got so much content. I can focus on filming and creating, live streams. Yeah, I've been a little bit not slack. I've been working 12-hour days. So Wednesday nights I'm getting pretty tired. So so Sunday mornings no problems at all. So, but yeah, lots and lots of content. Anyway, let's say good day to a few people. And finally, I'm able to scroll to the top of the chat and say good day. So who have we got there? We've got Robin was the first person. G'day, Robin. Lovely to see you. Valerie. Jim, of course. G'day, Jim. Annoying fan, Heidi. Hello, Heidi. Todd and Shauna and Asbestos. BJ, g'day BJ. We got Michelle over in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Nice. Frederick from Sweden. We've got Dennis. G'day Dennis, how are you? Cool Cat in the UK. Maristella from Brazil. Hello, welcome. Charlie, just down the road. G'day, Charlie. Pamela, g'day, Pamela. We'll get to your question soon. Who else? We've got Titus. G'day, mate. How are you? Did I miss anybody yet? No. Anthony and Nicola. G'day, Nicola. Just about to go and milk your goat. Michael and Jenny, of course. Goodness me, Herb. We've got so many people today. Habib, hello mate, thanks for the photos of your Comte, that'll be fun. Katerina and Paul, and that's about, Persnickety, thanks for your photo as well. Got that one. There we go. And S, Sandra from Brisbane. G'day Sandra, just snuck in there in the last minute. Welcome everybody. Right, so let's get into some questions. Don't forget, we've got the gallery at 30 minutes past the hour, so that's where people send in photos of their cheeses they've made either from recipes on the channel or wherever they got their recipes. I don't mind at all. And they've sent their photos in, so fantastic. Quick sip of the coffee. Right, so the first question was from Valerie. Yep, there we go. So Valerie says, if I wanted to make an American-style Munster, do I use your recipe and just rub with paprika, sans the bee linens? So, American Munster is different than Munster from Germany, yeah. Whereas American style Munster normally just has annatto rubbed over the outside of the cheese to give it that orangey colour. It's not altogether runny like the normal European style Munster, which uses bee linens as a wash on the outside to make it very stinky. So that's kind of the difference. Now you can use paprika and olive oil to get the same kind of colouring, but that will impart a little bit of flavour into the cheese, which is fine because when I made the smoked paprika kefili, I found the flavour to be very pleasant. So yeah, it was a great cheese and a great colour as well. So thanks for the question, Valerie. Next question is from, let's have a look. Oh, there we go. It's from Pamela. It says, are there any cheeses you don't have to put in a cheese cave? Yes, indeed. Many soft cheeses. So, just rattling a few off my head. So, paneer, ricotta, halloumi, bel paese, feta, let me think. Any of the cream cheese styles, yeah, they're the main ones that you can ripen or store, ripen in the, well, you don't need a cheese cave to ripen the cheese. So they're all viable cheeses and very delicious. So yeah, it's when you get to the semi-hard and hard cheeses where you need to have a temperature and humidity controlled environment to mature those cheeses. You would not be able to make any mold ripened cheeses, so white mold, wash rind, and blue mold cheeses, because they need a temperature controlled environment of about 13 degrees Celsius to make them work properly, and same as semi-hard and hard aged cheeses. So pardon me. So, Pamela, I hope that answered your question. There actually is a whole video on the subject. Let's see if I can find it for you. So moving over to the channel, to find videos, all you have to do is go to the page, and there's a little search function. So we'll look for beginner's cheese list with no cheese cave. So it's this video here. There I am. What a good looking bloke. That's a few years ago now. We'll just grab that and pop that into the chat for you so you can have a look. There we go. Hopefully that helps. Rightio. So, next question is from... let's have a look. Scrolling down the list. Here we go, from Anthony. Anthony says, you mentioned drying the farmhouse cheddar, which is what I'm doing now, and then you say the time may vary. But what am I watching for to know when this is done? Okay, great question, Anthony. So the question, the best way to answer it is, the cheese will feel like a clammy handshake. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. So it'll be touch dry, but it'll be clammy. So that's when that's air dried. Okay, so that's as dried as you want it to get. You don't want it to get any drier than that, because sometimes the curds, if they dry out too much, they will crack. And that's no good at all. So you need to find a clammy hand. Yeah, indeed. Very funny. So yeah, so clammy handshake. That's what it is. Goodness me. Where are we? Herb says he's having a hard time keeping up with watching all the videos now. Yeah, one a day will do that every time. Very cool. Oh, goodness me. Where are we? Next question is from Robin. Robin says, if wanting to smoke a cheddar or chowder, can it be smoked at any point during the aging process, or does it need to be aged a few months first? Another fantastic question. We've got some great ones today. Yeah, so Lisa over at Cheese 52, who runs another cheese making channel, did an experiment. So she had two, I think they were howders. So she had one that was mature and one that was fresh out of the press, and she smoked them both and then aged them. Now, I know that's not really a perfect experiment, because the howder that was already aged had already gone through 3 months of aging, and then it had to go through another 3 months to wait for the other one to catch up when she did a comparison taste test. So she had one howder that was smoked, and it was 3 months smoked before it was matured for 3 months, and then she had a howder that was 6 months old. So the taste comparison may have been a bit out, a little bit. However, she found that the cheese that was smoked before it was matured tended to have a lot more fuller flavour than the cheese that was smoked after it was matured. So you can do both. Now, when I smoked cheese once, and I did it for the cheese a day. No, sorry, did it for the 12 hours of cheese last year. I smoked some cheese beforehand and showed that video on the live stream. And I had some cheeses that were... I had one cheese that was 7 years old, and I couldn't believe the flavour, not only of the cheese, but the smoked version as well. So it doesn't really seem to matter. So hopefully that answers your question. You can go for it. Persnickety says, if a cheese starts to split during brining, is it still salvageable? Yes, so the brine should be fairly neutral and not have any bacteria in it. You should be good there as far as infection goes. What I would do is, once the brining is over, then let it air dry. It should only take a couple of hours because it's been brined. They seem to dry out a lot faster. and then vacuum pack it as quick as you can, persnickety, and then continue to mature the cheese. And it's the best way to save it. Christian says, "Hey there, I was wondering, have you ever tried Oaxaca cheese?" Indeed, I've made it myself. Let's see if I can find the recipe for you. Oaxaca. Let's have a look. Oaxaca. Yep, there we are. Where are we? There it is, and we've got even a taste test. So let's pull the video up and grab you the link for that. Good looking cheese balls, those. Yeah, very cool. So Oaxaca was a lovely cheese, tasted delicious, a lot of fun to make as well. So yeah, there's the link in the description for you. So yeah, it is fantastic cheese, Christian. Habib says, if I am making a cheese with eyes and I did not give the cheese a first high temp aging at 18 degrees Celsius, will they still develop some eyes? And most importantly, will they get the nutty flavour? Okay, so the eyes, you may have some difficulty with, Habib, because it really does need 16 to 18 degrees Celsius for the propionic bacteria to start creating the CO2 that makes the eyes in the cheese. However, the nutty flavour will be present because the propionic Cheeseman enzymes, as they break down, create that nutty flavour. It's nothing to do with the gas production per se. So it has two effects on the cheese. So yeah, you'll get the nutty flavour, probably won't get many eyes. You may get some small ones, but yeah, I remember the first Emmentaler that I ever made. I didn't put enough propionic bacteria in it, and B, the cool phase was too short. The warm phase, it's not really high temperature, the warm phase at room temperature was too short, and I didn't get proper eye development. I got some near the rind, but not near the centre. So there you go. Hope that helps and answers the question. So alrighty, next question is... Persnickety has a take on smoking. Says, Robin, I'd age first since cold smoking is an additional flavour. Just wrap in butcher's paper a few days and vac back. Yeah, so like I said, you can do it both ways. Forvo, long time no see. Goodness me. Between you, Uke, Stukaleli, Mullen and Shane Woodworking, I'm convinced that Australians are some of the best people out there. Always innovative, fun, and willing to share what you know. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. That's lovely to say that. Pamela says, what do people do when making hard cheeses if they have no fridge, ration, or cave? Ration? I think that might be spell check. What do they do? Well, back in the old days, of course, they just had a cellar and they used to age the cheese. So they'd wax the harder cheeses and they would age them in a cellar, which is between, it can be as cool as 10 degrees, it can be as warm as 16 degrees. So that's what they do, in a basement, cellar, wherever it's coolest in the house. In fact, the very first cheese that the very first hard cheese I made, or pardon me, semi-hard cheese, was Wensleydale, and I didn't have a cheese cave, and I found a cupboard in the middle of the house that was about 13 to 14 degrees Celsius all the day. So I waxed the cheese and I stored it in there, and it worked. So when you wax cheese, you don't have to worry about the humidity, so there was no issues with that whatsoever. So yeah, it's a nice, simple way. If you've got a cool basement, then yep, you shouldn't have any problems. If you don't, then yeah, you're going to have some issues. Because if the cheese is over 13 degrees Celsius, the lactic bacteria kind of gets excited and it eats a lot of lactose, and your cheeses will be a lot more acidic, and they'll mature faster, and they will be crumbly. So that's why you're trying to temperature control it. But great question, Pamela. Thanks for that. Who else? We got Patty. G'day, Patty. Better late than never, but thank you so much. We got my sister, who's actually staying with us at the moment. Hello, sis. I don't know if you're watching still, but thanks for popping into the chat. Tony says, when you have tried that sheep/ghost feta, goat, the other... I'll start again. Hang on, I need a sip of coffee. When you tried that sheep-goat feta the other day on your challenge video, you made me want to make my feta from those milks as well. You make it look so good and creamy. Yeah, indeed, it was a fantastic cheese, Tony. In fact, I gave some to Kim. In fact, I've been giving a little bit of cheese to Kim, and she does not concur with some of my taste test results as far as some of the cheeses that I say I don't really like. She loves them. Go figure. It's all personal taste, really, right? Anyway, yeah, so that Dodoni feta from Greece, the PDO version, I gave some to Kim. She says she's never tasted feta like, and we've never bought PDO feta before, only the knockoffs here in Australia. So yeah, it was amazing. And I've made a cheese like that. So hang on, let me just bring up the recipe for you. If I can find it. Greek feta. So, here we are. So, how to make real Greek feta. This is the one that I actually used. Sheep's milk. G'day, mate. Nice bloke. Sheep's milk and goat's milk. So the percentages are in there and in the recipe and that sort of stuff. But go and check that one out, and you will find. And it's an amazing cheese. It was one of the best fetas I've made personally, because using those two milks really does change the flavour totally. A question from, or more of a statement from Corrington, says, "Hi Gavin, I was so glad to finally see you catch on the wonderful Comté. One of my favourite cheeses for sure. Not sure if you got a recipe in the chat or your research. I found a fairly detailed one. Not given it a try. Happy to share if you want." Yeah, that'd be fantastic, Corrington. I think does. Let's have a look. I think there might be a recipe in 200 easy cheese recipes. Let's just have a quick look. Comté. Surely it has one. CEO. No, it does not. No, there's no recipe for Comté in here. All right. Let me just check another book. Just checking the version. What's this? Edition 3 of Ricky Carroll's book. Just a quick look. COM. No, there's no Comté in there either. Yeah, if you got the recipe, that would be fantastic, Corrington. Just send it through to the email address listed on the About tab of the channel. That would be perfect. Tony says, "Have you ever made feta from sheep's milk and goat's milk? And if so, is there anything I should be doing differently when using those milks?" Tony, I put the link in there for you, so you should be good to go. It's Dietrich. How are you, mate? Says, "Hi, Gavin. Always a pleasure to watch. I finally made mozzarella with homogenised milk by standardising the milk. Not a first quality cheese, but okay. But for pizza is okay. Happy to share the recipe with you." That'll be great. Thank you, Dr. Casero. That would be lovely, mate. Appreciate it. Michelle says, "Sometimes recipes state a cheese requires a long, slow acid development. If two cheeses get the same pH, but one got there slowly and one got there quickly, is there a flavour difference? If so, why?" Not to my knowledge. However, I have seen recipes for things like, what was it? Yeah, the other day I was making triple cream, and there was some notes in the recipe I was using that sometimes they let the cheese coagulate for overnight, so a long time compared to what I did. And he didn't really mention that there was an issue, what the difference was. But yeah, I really don't know because I haven't done it personally. Thank you, Paul, for the super chat. Appreciate it. I hope that answers your question, Michelle. Sorry I couldn't really amplify too much more on that. Paul says, hi Gavin, no question, but letting you know I'm enjoying the challenge. Maybe this will help pay for the next cheese. Thank you so much, Paul. Appreciate it. $20 US. That will pay for a few cheeses, that's for sure. Thanks, mate. Shauna says, re-splitting cheese. I've had a few split in backpack bags. A Tom, Fontina, and a Port Salut. I am now naturally rinding those varieties. Are there some cheeses that cannot be vac-packed? The only ones, Shauna, that I really don't vac-pack during maturation are the mould-ripened cheeses. So mould-ripened cheeses, white mould cheeses, washed rind cheeses, and blue mould cheeses, of course, because they all need oxygen to develop their special characteristics. Having said that, I have vac-packed blue after it's matured and washed rind after it's matured. Once you've got to the flavour profile you want to, but never vacuum pack a white mould cheese because ammonia just builds up in the bag and it puffs up. As far as other cheeses go, when you make hard Italian style cheeses, what I do is I tend to try and create a natural rind on the outside and let them dry out a little bit so they have the right texture. And then after a month or two, if I can get them there without them getting too much mold on them, then I will vacuum pack them so they don't totally dry out, because there's nothing worse than a rock hard Parmesan. The very first Parmesan I made was like a rock, honestly, and the only thing it was good for was grating, and then when I did grate it was a fine dry powder with not too much flavour. So the second Parmesan video that I released on the channel, the one that's got like 4 million views or something, was a lot better, and I did it that way, and found that it was, the right flavour. It was grainy. So I think about a month and a half I managed to hold off before it started to dry out too much, and that's when I vacuum packed it. So I hope that answers your question, Shauna. Just one says, after the initial equipment cost, is cheese making at home cheaper than buying it at the store? Well, great question, just one. Yes and no. So it depends. If you're buying local cheeses from your own country and they're fairly close by, you'll find that they're mass produced, they're fairly cheap, right? In fact, a block of tasty cheddar cheese that you buy in the supermarket is actually cheaper to buy than buying the milk in the supermarket. So knowing that a kilo of cheese needs about 10 litres of milk, right? Then the actual cost of buying that milk to then go and make a cheddar is more than buying the block of cheddar that's already made. However, if you're buying artisan cheese from artisan cheese producers that have low volumes, the price is going to be more expensive. For instance, the other day I released a video on, what was it? Hang on. It was the Millewa cheese, King River Gold, and it was 400 grams, and it was a washed rind cheese. It was a bit like Brick or Limburger, those styles of cheeses, a washed rind cheese. And that 460 grams cost me $51.70, okay, Australian. And I could have made it so much cheaper, half the price, not even, probably half the price. But remembering it takes time to make cheese, takes time to wash it during maturation. So, look, it depends. But if you have really bad cheese near you and you don't have artisan producers that produce amazing cheeses, then yeah, it may be cheaper to make it yourself. So it is very subjective, depending on the cheeses you can buy. Okay, everybody, it is time for the gallery. So let me just set that up quickly. And yeah, cool. So the gallery is where you, the cheesemakers on the channel, send in photos. So first photo today, here we go. This one is from Habib, I think. Yeah, it is. So Habib says, Dear Gavin, long time since I sent you one of my cheeses. A few days ago, I decided to open my 18-month-old Comté style cheese. It was my first time making this cheese. It was aged for the first 3 months with a natural rind and then vacuum packed for less affinage labour. Good choice. I was surprised with the results. The smell was sweet and nutty and slightly fruity, I would say. On the cut, it was hard but lightly pliable, and I was more than pleased to notice the tyrosine crystals were starting to form in the paste. The flavour was like smelling fruity. The flavour was like, smelling fruity and sweet, and then a lingering nuttiness holds and buttery notes coat the palate. I would say it was a real success, and that I was amazed with the results. Half went back into the cheese cave for more aging, just for the pleasure of experiencing if the taste profile would evolve to be better or not. Best regards and cheese, Habib. Thanks, Habib. Appreciate it. Let me just, can I zoom in a bit? Here we go. Like, as you said, a nice tight paste. Yeah, that's really good. There's another version that's a bit tighter there. So, no mechanical eye holes, just a few little ones, but certainly no eyes, because Comté is a fairly tight cheese. And there's a cut version there. So fantastic. Well done, Habib. If you actually got a recipe, shoot it to me. There's a few. If I can get a few Comté recipes, I can compare them and have a look. And definitely, it is a cheese that I will make. So, yeah, that would be fantastic. So well done, Habib. Really appreciate that. The next one is from Michael Adamson, who is persnickety. There we go. Finally put a name to the handle. Says, howdy Gav, persnickety here, and thank you for all of your educational videos. Attached is my submission, which was mentioned last night in your stream. It turned out to be a 9-pound chowder, the largest cheese I've made to date using your recipe books. That is massive. So 9 pounds is about 4.5 kilograms of cheese. So that's massive. That's a big one. So well done. Hopefully you can wax that. I don't know if you'll fit it in a vacuum pack bag, but definitely wax it so she don't dry out. So well done, persnickety. And thanks so much for sending the photo in. The next one is from Michael and Jenny. And Michael says, hi Gavin, it was time to try our double Gloucester, which was vacuum sealed back on 24th of October. 2022. Wow, the aroma was amazing. It was buttery sweet and nicely salted. It was a lovely cheese. The other 3/4 was vacuum sealed and placed back into the cave for another month or so. Thanks, Michael and Jenny. That's a lovely cheese. I love these little collages you're doing with the cheeses as well. Very cool. But it would be then difficult to select your photo for a thumbnail. Excuse me, I've got to sneeze. Right. So it would be difficult to select the photo for a thumbnail for a live stream. But great looking cheese, mate. That double Gloucester, it's amazing. I aged mine to, well, I had a piece of mine, 7 years old, and it was just beautiful. Alrighty, the next one is from Patricia. And is Patricia in the chat? Oh, yes, she has turned up. Thank you, Patricia, for sending this one in. Says, hi, Gav, here is a red Leicester. First one I've made since 2019. The 2029 version, 2019 version, knitted so poorly that I vac-packed it to hold it together with a borrowed vacuum sealer because I didn't own one back then. For the 2023 cheese, I made some changes that produced a much better knitting cheese. Using the sous vide wand in the sink of water, improved temperature management during ripening, simplified and limited temperature raising during the cooking phase, and kept the curd slabs warm as they chatted inside the pot. Also, the first pressing was done under warm way. This cheese never got a chance to cool off and never got warmer than 35 degrees Celsius. So, ta-da, a perfect knit. I think I'll wax this one. Patricia. That is a perfect knit. That is just amazing. So, well done on your red Leicester. There's some great tips there too. So, temperature management is very important during your cheese make. If you can keep it to what the recipe says, you're going to get a far better result as well. And pressing under warm way, if you're having trouble with cheeses knitting together like cheddar styles, any of the UK semi-hard cheeses sometimes are difficult to knit together. So Patricia's found a pretty good way there, pressing it underway. If you can fit your press into a pot of whey or what have you, then yeah, you should have no problems getting it together. Now, having said that, the warmer the cheese stays during all this process, the more lactose is going to be converted into lactic acid. So it may be a more crumblier cheese. But Patricia, if you could report back, that would be fantastic once you've tried it, to see what the texture of the cheese is. Okay, the next one is from Sandra, and I'm not sure if Sandra's in the chat, but anyway, we'll go ahead with this. Sandra sent me this photo here. It says, hi Gavin, left to right, Wensleydale with cranberries, which was a real hit with my work colleagues, Caerphilly in the middle, and Croton de Chavinol, I think that's how you say it, cow's milk, and in front a small piece of Tallagio. I have to say, Tallagio is not my number one cheese to eat on crackers, but it is delightful in some wonderful Italian recipes such as pasta, mushroom and Tallagio, or baked sweet potatoes with Tallagio. So still really worth making. Yeah, I think that I had that on my list to make this year. I've actually got a Tallagio square mould thing that I've had for years and years and just never got around to making it. So I do like washed rind cheeses a heck of a lot. So that should be good fun. I'll try and give that. But your cheeses look absolutely beautiful. They're fantastic. And I love the glass of wine. Nice little touch there. And the Jats crackers. Very good. Thank you, Sandra. Appreciate your photo and you sending it in. The next one is from Shauna. And Shauna says, good evening, Gavin and Kim. A photo for the gallery. This one is a Guido's hard Italian cheese, fresh out of the brine. It's made using my chamois, I think it's how you say it, mould, and a good opportunity for the stir mate to prove itself over the 40-minute stir. It certainly worked well, but I did have to break up the clumping curds every 10 minutes or so. I'm happy with it and the cheese. It's a very amazing looking mould. I love the nubbins. little thing. I don't know if they recede over the time it ages, but seeing that Guido's is a fairly quick cheese to mature if you want to. You can mature it longer. But yeah, show us a photo, Shauna, once it's matured and you've had a bit of a chomp into it. See how it ages. That'll be very interesting to see. Sean has also sent in another photo that says, after a few failures, I finally have a successful Jarlsberg. The smell is divine and has the true nutty flavour. She's a very happy camper this morning. That's amazing. And lovely eye development too. Some nice big eyes there. And yeah, the flavour of Jarlsberg, homemade version anyway, is amazing. It's lovely. And Shauna goes on to say, thank you again for taking the time to answer all our questions over and over again. All the best to you both, Shauna. Thank you, Shauna. Appreciate it. And some very amazing cheeses this week. Really appreciate it. And this is from Valerie. I don't know if Valerie's in the chat. We'll just make that a little bit bigger. Let's see. I do have a little note from Valerie here. Valerie says, hi, Gavin. This cheese was 10 litres of 3.25% milk fat. It would not fit into one mould, a 1.5 litre mould. So I had to use 2. It was store-bought whole milk. Is this normal? The other cheddar I made with raw milk only made 1. Thank you for your videos. They are great. Valerie from Ontario, Canada. Thank you, Valerie. Right, so my hang on, that's the second photo when they're vac packed. It don't say how much they weigh. They look pretty small, but cow's milk of that fat percentage usually has a yield of about 10%, roughly. So for every 10 litres of milk, you get about 1 kilogram of cheese. Those 1.5 litre moulds, I think that's the volume of the mould, seem a bit small for using 10 litres of milk. So, yeah, look, that's the yield you're looking for with cow's milk. If you get a higher fat cow's milk, then you'll get more yield. If you use a lower fat cow's milk, you'll get a lower yield. So that's kind of how it rolls. But anyway, Valerie, thank you for sending that photo into me today. Now, is that the end? Yes, that is the end of the gallery. So thank you to everybody who sent in gallery photos. Let me show you how to send me a photo. Let's have a look. So, yeah, so you go to the channel page, as always. That's where the action is. We go to the About tab just here. Hopefully you can see my little pointer. And you click on the About tab, and you go down here, and it says Details for Business Inquiries, View Email Address. So that email address, I won't click on it because I'll get spammed. Not by you guys, by other nefarious actors. Yeah, that email address is the one to send all of your cheese photos to, so please do so. That would be fantastic. I'd love to see your cheese photos and showcase them to the world, whether they're good, bad, or ugly. I don't mind, and neither does the cheese-making community, because we've all got tips, we've all had experience that we can help help you perfect your cheese. So there's no better place to learn on making cheese than, I would say, this channel. Not trying to blow my own trumpet or anything, but we have so much community help and love and so many people with experience on cheese making that it's criminal not to use these resources to improve your own cheese making skills. So very cool. Okay, so we've got 15 minutes left and we've got some more questions in the chat. So let me just get to some of them. Question from Heidi says, Gavin, please clarify. You said you don't have to worry about humidity with waxing. I thought that was only true for vac packing. Yeah, so when cheeses are waxed, the moisture's locked in. Some waxes, some people use beeswax, right? And the reason that beeswax cracks is because it dries out. So if you use beeswax, then yes, humidity is an issue. If you use microcrystalline wax, which most cheese-making suppliers sell, then you don't have an issue with humidity. There's no way that the humidity can transfer between the wax barrier and the outside world. Okay, so vac packing, obviously, that's true because there's no escaping. But yeah, if you're using beeswax or a combination of beeswax and something else, then it tends to crack when it's not humid enough. There you go. So that's the clarification for that one. And you said, if the humidity isn't an issue, can I remove the salted water from my cheese stove? Yes, you can if you want. Valerie says, hi Gavin, should all cultures be kept in the freezer or the fridge? A few of my packets don't specify. Yeah, definitely. So the freeze-dried cultures should be stored in the fridge. Sorry, right, I'm totally wrong there. Sorry, I had a brain fart there for a second. All cultures, the freeze-dried ones, are to be kept in the freezer. If you can, take them out of little packets, because most of them don't have Ziplocs, and store them in a specimen jar. Now, we ship these little jars, and thank you, Heidi. I will just stop that. Where is it? Where's my button? So it doesn't keep flashing. But, yeah, when we ship cultures, regardless if they're in a Ziploc bag, I put them in these. So a little sterile jar. They're sterile until you open them, and then you pour your culture in, and then you screw the lid on, and it has a really good seal. And that way the cultures don't get any moisture in them, and they don't go clumpy. So definitely in the freezer, and they do last quite a while past the best before date. Trust me, I have used cultures that are like 2 years past their best before date and still had a great result. So no issues whatsoever, Valerie. But yeah, in the freezer for your freeze-dried cultures. And if you can, if you haven't already, get some of these sterile containers. They are fabulous. We sell some. They're fairly cheap. We sell a pack of 3 for $2 or something. But when you buy cultures from Little Green Workshops, we ship them with these. So that helps. There you go. Let's get to that super chat. Where the heck did that go? What's way down there? Heidi, thank you so much for the $10 US. I really appreciate it. Every little bit helps. Keep the channel going and all that sort of stuff. There's a question from Patty. Says, last Ask the Cheeseman I made it to, you and Anthony explained the difference between fermentation and cheese making. But looking on Wikipedia at the list of fermented foods, they include a list of fermented cheeses, including Limburger. So what is fermented cheese? Yeah, good question. So fermented cheeses, fermented products are usually fermented with yeast, right? And they fermentation converts some of the sugars into alcohols and CO2. Whereas cheese making, technically you could call it fermentation, but it's the lactic bacteria converting lactose, which is a sugar, it's a complex sugar, into lactic acid, not alcohol, or CO2. So that is the slight difference in between fermentation and cheese maturation. Yeah, I don't know why Limburg is listed as a fermented cheese. It's no different than any other cheese, really. Dennis says, have I ever tried Cambozola? It's a triple cream brie blue cheese. Yes, I have tried cheeses similar to that. There's a cheese that King Island Dairy makes called, I think it's Opal. It's a white mold cheese with blue inside, and it's absolutely delicious. I have attempted to make that. Let me see if I can find the attempt. I think it was more blue than anything else. Let's just have a dig for it. What did I call it? I called it Cam Blue. I think. Let's have a look. There it is. So Cam Blue, this is my twist on Camden Zola. So I will share. Oh, is that an old one? Oh, there we go. So there's the recipe that I used there. So it used milk, cream, fluorodanica, penicillium roque 40, calcium chloride rennet, penicillium candidum, and geotrichum candidum. So I'll just share the recipe, the video with you. Back to there. So that's for what I call Cam Blue, which is similar to Camden Zola. It was certainly delicious. Not quite as much white mold as I would have liked. Certainly the blue was there, but the creaminess was there too. It was absolutely delicious. So Dennis, you can go check that one out. Corrington said, happy to share. We'll email the Comte recipe. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Is that Sandra, I think? I found 2 Comte recipes on the internet, both very different. Yeah. If you've got a link, you can't put it in the chat because YouTube doesn't allow links. But yeah, shoot me an email with the 2 links in it. So with all the recipes for Comte that people have found, if you can send them to me, I'll have a look, see what I can find is the kind of the best of everything, and go from there. Let's have a look. There's another question. Let's have a look. Elwin says, is the rind on Parmesan cheese just dried cheese, or do they literally put wax on it? I'm just thinking about how soft Parmesan rind gets when you throw it into a ragu or something. It looks tasty. Yeah, it's just the dried cheese. So Parmesan does not get waxed or coated in anything. Those markings on the outside, and if you saw the Cheese a Day Challenge, the Parmigiano Reggiano video that I did, I actually showed how you can tell whether the cheese is authentic or not. It'll have a stencil into the rind, but the rind is just dried cheese. So a lot of people, there's a couple of ways you can eat the rind actually, and that is put the rind into an oven and it turns into like a chip or a French fry, a cheesy French fry. It's very nice. You can put it into stews, you can put it into soups, and then it kind of breaks down a bit. So yeah, never throw the rind away with Parmesan and those really hard Italian types, because you can use it, and it is a great flavouring agent for those sorts of foods. So there's no wax on it, so they just brush it with a big robot, and yeah, it's all good. Herb says the raw milk I can get is $8 a gallon US. $8 for 4 litres. That's pretty cheap, mate. Really cheap indeed. Pamela says, what is the best cheese cave to get? Really, it's a subjective question, but a great question, Pamela. It's up to you. It depends on how much cheese you want to make. So what you can do is convert a normal refrigerator into a cheese cave by simply getting an external thermostat. Now, let me just... I've got a blog post that I wrote. Thermostat. Just trying to find it for you. Where is it? Where's he? How to make a cheese fridge? Here it is. Right, so sorry, there's an ad. This is my blog, Little Green Cheese, where I have the written word about cheese. So this blog post talks about how to convert a normal refrigerator into a cheese fridge. There is a link to a device called an Inkbird 308 that has that you can temperature control. Now there are not only Australian plugs, but there's So there's an Aussie New Zealand version and a US Canada version. There's a UK version, but I just don't have a link to it here. But I'm sure if you got Amazon, it'll just take you to the UK version. But what I'll do, I will put the link to that blog post into the chat, and you can go and check it out in your own time. And that will help greatly, Pamela. So that's how you make a cheese fridge. Very simple. I've just got a bar fridge underneath my kitchen bench. And yeah, it works perfectly. Okay, so we've got 5 minutes to go. So we've got a few questions we can throw in. Let's have a look. Persnickety says, I've got a 15-inch vacuum sealer which works just fine for 4+ pound cheese. Oh, fantastic. So that's really good. So you did get to vacuum pack it. So yeah, that's absolutely perfect. Well done, mate. Let's have a look. There must be another question here somewhere. Anthony says, I think we're talking about Shauna's cheese where she used the Stirmate. Says, I did exactly the same thing with the Stirmate and the XL attachment yesterday. Yeah, you do. It says all the curds were turning together as one, so I had to break them up as well. Yeah, I've made another cheese since Anthony and Shauna. Which one was it? I think it was the Tassie Devil that I put the peppercorns in, the Tasmanian peppercorns, and it actually didn't clump as much because it was a longer aged cheese. We've got another super chat going on there. Who's that from? That's from Patricia. Thank you, Patricia. Says, what percentage of salt would you use in ricotta? Also, what happened to the dairy farm you grew up on? Two great questions. Percentage of salt, about 1% for ricotta by weight. So that's the percentage I normally use. So I weigh the ricotta and then figure out 1% of that and then add the salt. You can use no salt in ricotta. If you're going to use it for desserts, then a lot of people just don't add any salt at all. And you can then pipe it and do whatever you want with the ricotta. But if you're going to make things like a baked ricotta or use it in savoury dishes, or you want it to last a bit longer, then definitely 1% salt, and that's absolutely fine. Now, as for the dairy farm that I grew up on, when I was a wee lad, you've obviously read about that in my first book, Keep Calm and Make Cheese. Great plug there. Good segue. It actually, there was an issue. So it used to be in a really dry, semi-arid area in Loxton North in South Australia. Normally, the rainfall, there was about 10 inches of rain a year. So 25 millimetres of rain a year, which is not very much. It's enough to grow wheat, but that's it. As it wasn't dairy farming country. So what we actually had was, because we lived next to the River Murray, there used to be a water licence for irrigation allocated to the dairy farm. And apparently as time went on, the milk from the dairy was not cost effective to make because the cost of the water that they were using for irrigating the pastures was too expensive. So that's what I heard, and basically it went to pot. So the dairy died. They sold all the cattle. They actually started using the water to make lucerne, which is a type of what's it put into the ground? It puts some nutrient. What the heck? Potassium? No, phosphate. It puts something into the ground. I can't remember what it is now, but the roots are really deep, and it doesn't need a heck of a lot of water to grow, and it makes the best hay apparently. So that's what they did. Nitrogen, that's the word. Thank you, Just One. I was looking for the right bloody word then. So they converted it to a lucerne pasture, and then the water got even more expensive, and so they gave up, and now it's like a desert, basically. There's nothing. It's just open land with tumbleweeds and stuff like that. So it's really sad. But anyway, a lot of the buildings are still there, but they don't do anything with it. And thank you so much for the $5 Canadian, Patricia. Really appreciate it. Okay, so next question is from Jordan. Just last one. Yep, it's 9 o'clock. G'day from California. What's the name of the cheese your wife really likes and you age in the regular fridge? Could be Bel Paese, is the one I'm thinking of. The other one she really likes is Cotswold, which is, it's got dried onion flakes, dried garlic powder, and dried chives in it. She really likes Cotswold is what it's called. It's a double Gloucester with all these additions in it, and it's very nice. But I think the other one could be Bel Paese, or she's very partial to halloumi, which is a Cypriot cheese that you can just keep in the fridge. And there's no maturation time. It's a fresh one. Anyway, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time this week. Great show. Really appreciate it. Just a little bit of housekeeping at the end. If you want a structured way of learning how to make cheese, you can go to courses.littlegreenworkshops.com.au and sign up for the Curd Nerd Academy. You will learn how to make cheese the right way. So, if you want to buy any supplies, don't forget you can go to littlegreenworkshops.com.au. We supply to most countries, so go and check out whether we ship to you. Lots of cheese making equipment and supplies there, and lots of people in the chat buy it, so that's cool. And of course, merch. Who can forget the merch? Like this lovely t-shirt and this amazing mug. You can buy them all over at merch.cheeseman.tv, which is my merch store. And that's serviced by Spring. They will fulfill all the orders there for you. Also, you can buy the ebooks, 2 ebooks that I've written over at the merch store, or if you want paperback versions, you buy it from Little Green Workshops. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. That would be amazing. And hopefully this week, we'll be doing a Wednesday night show. So for those who are regular viewers of the Wednesday night show, then we will certainly have that. So that'll be fantastic. All right, Curd Nerds, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.